Okay, today will be the class for Entrepreneurship Lab MBA program. Yeah, MBA program apa kod MBA program ikut KLMU ataupun sekarang ni diberi nama Unita University College. Alright. Okay, tak apa Diren. Alright. Okay. MBA program and this is your final semester, SEM 3. Okay, final semester. And the subject is Entrepreneurship Lab and the code is MBA 7. Apa kod Kejap. MBA 7334. Alright. Okay, so make sure you are in the right class. Okay, now kita mulakan. As usual, this subject is quite easy, senang. Entrepreneurship dengan satu lagi subjek you all untuk semester 3 ni adalah strategic management kan. Strategic management pun taklah susah mana because we are giving way for you to complete your, what do you call that, your project paper. Okay, that one is much more important. So untuk entrepreneurship lab dengan strategic management ni agak ringan lah. Okay. Okay, kejap bagi saya, bagi saya 1 minit.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sorry. Semua pula sikit. Alright. So entrepreneurship lab ataupun entrepreneurship lah. Lab tu lupa kan. The entrepreneurship saja. What is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is basically keusahawanan kalau kita translate. Right? Okay. So hopefully you have downloaded the, what you call that, the learning material. Just start baca lah sikit-sikit. Tapi as I said, this subject is quite easy for you to understand because entrepreneurship is something normal and popular these days. Yeah, so everybody now can become an entrepreneur. For example, sekarang ni kan kita ada macam-macam online shopping, so you can now become a dropship dealer. You can easily open up your own what do you call that, online business. Okay, jadi tak ada isu sangat lah berkenaan dengan entrepreneurship. Alright, so what's important about entrepreneurship? Satu saja, which is you must have a business. And what is business? Anything that you trade. Okay, anything that you trade. apa saja barang yang kita tukar yang bakal membawakan keuntungan. Dia tak semesti dalam bentuk monetary. So that's not necessarily monetary. Although the normal practice is you will sell something, you have a pen, then you jual, you dapat jual RM1, your cost is 80 sen, and jual RM1, you dapat 20 sen keuntungan. That is in terms of monetary, right? But in some cases, they still do trading, but they are not gaining in terms of money. They will gain in terms of goodwill, for example, nama baik. They will gain in terms of another products. Okay. Like for example, in some countries, ataupun most of the countries in the world, okay, apa dia buat? Let's say kalau macam Malaysia, dia ada petroleum. Okay. Ambil contoh dia, kita ada petroleum, kita ada minyak. Now we're selling this, what I call that, the oil to country, let's say India, for example. Okay. Alright. The value of the oil, let's take 1 billion ringgit. India will not pay us in terms of money. Tapi India akan bagi kita produk dia yang kita tak ada. For example, chili, contoh. So they will give us the chilies and the value is also 1 billion. Macam tu. So that means that is a trading. That is also a business. Okay. So business does not necessarily in terms of gaining money. As long as you have something to trade, you have something to offer to somebody else, right, that will give you benefit. Kalau tak bagi benefit, itu bukan business, itu sedekah. Ataupun kita bagi je. Itu hadiah. Okay, that's not in terms of business. Itu kita tak bagi entrepreneur. Kalau buat macam tu, memang kita rugi. Jadi, entrepreneurship is you must have a business. You must have something to trade. And satu tadi saya kata, it does not necessarily in terms of money, and it does not necessarily in terms of products. Okay, it could be in terms of services. Okay, macam kata kita offer service untuk cuci rumah. Okay, that's not product, that's services. Kita pergi jadi tukang cuci kereta. Kita basuh kereta jiran-jiran. Okay, dan jiran-jiran bagi kita RM10 untuk satu kereta. Right, that is in terms of services. Because in business, okay, when we have a product, we have a cost to get the product. Either we manufacture or we buy from somebody else. Okay, bila kita dah beli, ada harga yang lebih murah daripada harga jualan, okay, then we'll gain in terms of monetary. Tapi ada satu lagi cost, but when it comes to services, there is no manufacturing cost. Tak ada produk kan? So it's only perkhidmatan ataupun services. So they are calculating the cost in terms of the man hour. Sebab tu kalau kata kita ambil services macam cuci rumah orang, kata maid services, ya, maid services, ataupun jadi tukang apa ni, tukang jaga orang lah, alright, tukang jaga orang macam old nursery homes, okay, for example, dia akan charge kita by hour, right? So by hour tu is the services, dan dia punya cost is orang kata apa, dia tidak bersifat material. Alright, so that's why they are charging in terms of the man hour. When we have a business in terms of products, okay, walaupun kita buat business dalam bentuk produk, besides having the manufacturing cost, kita ada juga cost lain yang terlibat. And salah satu cost yang paling antara yang terbesar dalam cost kita adalah the man hour cost. Orang yang nak buat produk tu, ataupun operator pengeluaran, ataupun orang yang nak menjahit baju, contoh kalau bisnes baju, nak jahit baju tu. So that is the man hour cost. Berapa upah dia pula. So when it comes to more technical facilities ataupun technical skills involved, then the salary ataupun the wages would become higher. Kalau kita ni orang yang ada skill, alright, katalah orang yang kita ni pandai melukis, alright, kita melukis. So berbanding dengan orang yang kurang pandai melukis, ataupun kita adalah mekanik yang memang pakar untuk repair kereta, berbanding dengan orang lain yang tak pandai ataupun kemahiran dia kurang. Doctor, for example, a normal doctor and the specialist doctor. So kalau you pergi klinik, mungkin your consultation fee is only RM20. Tapi bila you pergi jumpa pakar, the specialist, he will charge you RM200 or RM250 per session. Session dia tu bukan pakai jam, dia pakai per session. Kalau 5 minit, 10 minit, 15 minit, so that is the session. They call it as a session. Macam kita pergi klinik lah, kan kadang-kadang sekejap, kadang-kadang lama. Okay, ada yang 2 minit. Kadang kita jumpa doktor tanya kita sakit apa, bla bla bla, kita cerita demam, batuk dan sebagainya. Okay, dia bagi ubat. Dan tak sampai 5 minit. Okay, then the clinic will charge us RM20 for the consultation. But we go and see the specialist, the same session, same 5-10 minutes, right? Mungkin lebih lama sikit lah kot because dia pakar kan. So dia tanyalah soalan lain. So they will charge you RM250 per session. Okay, so that is the difference, okay, between the man hour that we charge to the customer, depending on the technicalities, depending on the technicalities of the services. Okay, kalau doktor pakar lebih lagi. Kalau orang tu repair, dia pakar repair kereta, okay, dia lebih lagi. So macam tu. But whatever it is, you must have a business. Alright. So when you have a business, right, now comes to the formality of the business entity. Formality ni maksudnya, you must have, in order for you to gain whatever business status, whatever business status, and also to allow you to be called officially as businessman, right? You must have this business entity. Kita panggil sebagai business entity. So in Malaysia, for example, the business entity comes in many forms, right? Satu, semuanya berdaftar di bawah Suruhanjaya Syarikat Malaysia ataupun SSM, and we have a category like sole proprietorship. Okay, yang ni kalau dulu kita panggil enterprise lah. Okay, enterprise. Enterprise ni adalah lebih kepada kita buat bisnes kecil-kecilan. Right? Kalau setakat kita mungkin kita buat online shopping, okay? Online business. Kita jual barang secara online. Okay. And the value pun kita akan dapat dalam RM2-3,000 sebulan. Okay, that is considered very small business. But then we want to formalize the business. Mungkin kita nak gunakan bank account. Okay, maybe we want to have a proper profit and loss statements, financial statements. So we just want to formalize the business, especially when it comes to the income tax. Alright, so that is another way of looking at the business. So sole proprietorship, it is actually tagged along with your individual names. Okay, walaupun katalah kita pakai Diren Enterprise, okay, for example, tapi it is considered as a business. So apa disadvantage dia? Disadvantage dia adalah the liability. Okay, the liability ni maksudnya kalau orang hutang kita, kita buat hutang dengan bank dan sebagainya yang berkaitan dengan bisnes, okay, the liability will falls under ataupun will falls to the owner. Dia jatuh bawah owner. Dia tak pergi bawah company. So that means the directors, the shareholders, they are not protected as a company. Okay, dia bersifat, kalau orang nak saman, dia saman individu. That's orang kata apa? That is sole proprietor. Okay. Berbeza pula dengan orang kata sole proprietor ni ada dua, enterprise ni ada dua. Satu, sole proprietor maksudnya kita seorang. Okay. Tapi kalau partnership, then we have two or more, dua ataupun lebih partner kita yang menjalankan bisnes. Satu kelebihan dia, kita share sama-sama lah. kita tanggungjawab tu, dan juga kita share sama-sama liability. Kalau katalah kerugian 10 juta, kita ada 2 orang buat business, so 5 juta. Contohnya lah, instead of sole proprietor, kita seorang-seorang tanggung. Itu sahaja beza sole proprietor dengan partnership ni. Then after that, you have all those partnership agreement, everything. Okay, itu semua biasa. Okay, right. Okay, and the rest you can do your own. And then we have the corporations. Okay, corporation ni is macam sedia berhad. Okay, it's like a sedia berhad company. Okay, so apa beza dia? Sedia berhad pun dia ada sedia berhad dan dia ada berhad. Berhad is a listed company. Okay, so sedia berhad is like an entity whereby we legalize our business operations solely under company. Dia memang akan bergerak secara sebuah entiti yang dipanggil sebagai satu syarikat. So you will have your own your own procedures to follow the regulations made by the SSM ataupun any governments will have their own regulation for the companies untuk syarikat. That includes as well the mandatory of submitting your yearly financial statement ataupun kita panggil audited report, ya, ataupun dalam bahasa syarikat kita panggil annual return. Right. So this audited report must be submitted to SSM every year. So kalau you fail, you tak submit, you tak buat ni semua, they can come to you and they can penalize you in terms of the monetary penalty. Ataupun dia boleh ambil legal action, right? Legal action against you, against your company, right? Tapi dia akan jatuh bawah company. Right. Semua pengarah syarikat bertanggungjawab untuk memastikan bahawa syarikat yang mereka takbir itu memenuhi semua syarat keperluan dalam undang-undang syarikat, termasuklah auditor report. Dia tak boleh buat sesuka hati dalam syarikat. That means if you have your own company, if let's say you are the director, you cannot simply take out your company's money. You tak boleh simply pergi jumpa your accountant, I want you to issue me a check of 10,000 ringgit. Tak boleh. There are procedures for all those financial activities, as well as you have the processes and procedures for all your business activities. So itu maksud dalam sedia berhad. I think you are good in that. Satu lagi adalah berhad ataupun listed company. Listed company beza dia, kalau sedia berhad, you own the share. Maybe you have two partners, then you own 60-40 ataupun 50-50, but then you own the share individually. If it is a listed company, then certain amount of your shares now being floated around in the market. So everybody can buy your share. Everybody can buy your share at the current price. Pricing to is your current value of the organization. Alright. When there are certain amount of shares floated around ataupun floated in the market, in the share market, then anybody who thinks that they want to own ataupun they want to have a share, minority share in your company, they can buy. Alright. And then these shares ataupun the floated shares ni, dia ada dua jenis investor. Satu investor who wants to take control of your company ataupun they believe in the company, they believe in your company. So normally they will hold the shares for a period of time. They want to gain dividends. So selepas 1 tahun kan, kalau company untung everything, they will pay dividend. So they want to have your dividend. Okay. Satu lagi is the short term player. Short term player ni dia investor yang short term. They want to have just a short term gain. Means hari ni kalau dia beli your share at maybe RM1, okay, then tomorrow ataupun next 1 week your share naik RM1 10 sen. So they will sell the shares and somebody else will take over the shares. Okay. And then dia untung 10 sen kat situ. That is orang kata short term players lah. Short term investors rather than long term investors ni, they believe in your company and they want to have uh, a bigger gains, yeah, that will be in terms of dividends, because they know that maybe today this year they bought your share at RM1. In the next maybe 3 years they believe that your shares can go up until RM4 or RM5. So surely they will gain in terms of of the uh, increment of the share price. Okay. Satu lagi dia untung juga dalam bentuk dividend, since they have been with you, they have holding, they have hold your shares for about 3 years, then dalam masa 3 tahun tu pun akan ada dividen kan. So bila dia bayar dividen, company bayar dividen, they will gain in terms of dividend, and when they sell the shares after 3 years, they will get in terms of uh, the 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 increment of the share price. Okay, that is in terms of the corporations. All right. So these are the ownerships and stock market, yeah, financial resources and everything. Okay, itu semua yang boleh baca lah. Alright. Banyak juga ni. Ada 11 topics. Okay. This subject has one of the good materials lah. Okay. Okay, operating and marketing business ventures. That one is normal. That one is sama juga macam business, whereby you must have kata macam satu tadi, you must have a business, then after that followed by a strategic management. Okay, so it's why subjek dalam MBA ni dia berkait rapat antara satu sama lain. So once you have the entrepreneurship, okay, that means once you have set up the business, then when you have finished setting up, lepas tu masuklah strategic management pula. Okay, so bila you belajar strategic management atau you belajar marketing, belajar apa lagi, belajar organization behavior, that is all about the uh, the apa ni, running the business. Okay, okay, habis. Okay, okay, tak banyak. Okay, sekejap download lagi. Apa ni? Sorry, tak keluar apa. Sekejap. Okay, keluar kat sini. Okay, now is the uh, dia tu lompat chapter 3. Chapter 2 tak ada. Tak apa. Alright. Financing for entrepreneurship. Financing ni apa? Maknanya kata sebelum kita berniaga, kita kena ada modal. Okay. Modal ni adalah untuk kita sama ada kita nak beli satu-satu barangan. Remember when we say that if we want to sell something, we must have that something. We must have that product. So in order to get that product, that means we have to finance, okay, from our the purchasing of that particular product. You nak jual satu pen pun, sebelum you boleh jual, you kena beli dulu pen tu. Ataupun kalau kata you produce pen tu, you bukan setakat beli, you kena manufacture, tapi kena buat dulu pen tu. So bila you dah buat, you nak buat pen tu, when you want to manufacture the pen, they must have what we call as raw materials. Bahan mentah dia tu. Apa yang nak buat? Apa yang bahan-bahan yang diperlukan untuk buat satu pen. Okay. So, those things must be financed first. Kita kena beli dulu. So, we want to buy, then we must have our capital. Kita kena ada modal. Alright. Itu dah masuk ke peringkat produk. When you want to set up your company as an official company pun, there must be some regulation that you need to follow. That means you have to appoint a company secretary, for example, and that is capital. That is something that you have to pay, right? So now you have to take out your own money to pay the company secretary and instruct the company secretary to form your company. Okay, to register your company with SSM. After that being done, then you can now run the business. You cannot run the business if you don't have products. Okay. Let's take, for example, a product. You must buy the product or you must manufacture the product first, then only you can sell it. This is what we call as the investment. Okay. The investment for you to set up the company and also the investment for you to get ready with your stocks. Ini kita panggil stock ni tadi. Okay. Stock barangan yang kita ada, then only we can do selling. And when you want to do the selling itself, there must be a marketing process involved. And when there's a marketing process, you must have your marketing cost. You nak iklankan secara digital di online, you need to pay. You want to print a brochure, you need to pay. If you want to go and participate in any exhibition, for example, you have to pay for the booth as well. Meaning that whatever that you are doing for your marketing, there must be a cost. So the setting up cost, the production cost, the marketing cost, then only you will get your customer. Then your business will start the cycle. Okay, now you are, after you have done the marketing, you are getting customers now, then you will start getting the money flowing into your bank account. Dan daripada situlah nanti kita akan tengok whether you have a surplus or you have a deficit in terms of your financial. Okay, bila kita buat business, the main objective is to get a profit. Okay, and the profit, normally the benchmark would be, it should be more than the current investment ataupun fixed investment rate, fixed investment interest rate. For example, okay, let's look at the fixed deposit with the banks. Now we have on average, let's say kata 4%. You put in your money into banks and you put in into the fixed deposit, the bank will give you an interest of 4% per annum for whatever amount of your deposits. You letak 1 juta dalam fixed deposit with the bank. After 1 year, they will give you 4%. 4% out of 1 million would be around 40,000. So for that 40,000 is your profit. Consider profit. Okay. Okay, let's say now you take that 1 million and you do business. Okay, you do business, setting up your own company, and then you dah you somebody you beli stock ataupun you produce the stocks, come up with the marketing, okay, hire a staff and everything. At the end of 1 year, look at your profit. If you are making profit less than 4%, right, then you less than 4% ataupun you rugi lah, ataupun rugi terus lah, you're not making any profit at all. Okay, that means you are on the losing side. So if you're not making more than 4%, then people say might as well you take that 1 million at the very beginning and just put it in the bank's fixed deposit, rather than you go into the business 1 year, you struggle, you have your headache and everything, but you still cannot get that 4%. But that is what we call as the investment. Although that is the analogy, that is only a guidance for us in the business. How are we going to set up the how are we going to determine our profit margin? Okay. But then there will be some other advantages as well. Okay, you will have your networking. There must be an industry standard as well, because some business you cannot get your profit within 1 year or within the first 3 years. Maybe the investment is huge. In accounting as well, so that's why you learn financial management. Yeah, you learn accounting. In accounting as well, whatever investment, okay, some money that we put in the company being identified as the asset. Okay, that is not really losses to you. Okay, when it comes asset, that means that is your capital. Dia bukan kehilangan. We are not losing the money. If it is marketing cost, yes, the one is expenses. If it is a salary, it is expenses. Okay, but when it comes to the asset, when you buy computer, you buy furnitures, all those things are assets. Let's say when you close down the business, you can still sell those assets. Let's say you beli satu pejabat, right? Okay, you beli satu premise to be your office. That office costs you 250,000, for example. Then when you are no longer into that business, you can sell the office, you can sell the asset. Then you have a capital gain as well. Okay, so there are so many ways of looking at the business. Although the analogy is still that when you have 1 million, you invest in the business, you should be getting more than whatever that the bank has offered you in terms of the fixed deposit. That is a very direct and simple analogy. Okay, tapi kalau you buat juga business and you are not making profit, but still you will gain your experience, networking, and when you follow up in the second year, yeah, you still invest in second year, probably you get profits double or triples that could cover your losses in the first year. That's how you look at the business. Okay, in terms of the financing for entrepreneurship, that could come from your own pocket, like your own savings and everything. Some business they could apply for a grant with the government. Some business you could also ask for government loans. For bank loans. Bukan government loan, government tak bagi. Okay. Government, they will support certain business, but there are free conditions as well. Okay, probably you get a bank loans, okay, to support your investment. Okay, ataupun from your own pocket money. So there are many ways of getting finance for the business. Probably you will get an individual investor. Let's say kalau you nak buat business 10,000. Then you borrow the money from your parents, maybe from your brothers or sisters, right? So they will now become your investor. That you could probably promise them something. Let's say I borrow 10,000 from my friend. Okay, I told my friend that at the end of 1 year, I will return back this 10,000. Okay, I will pay back my debt to you together with a fix ataupun say I'll give you 20% of my profit as the so-called apa ni, the return of your investment, the ROI of your investment. Okay, return on investment ni I bagi you 20% out of my profit. So if I am the investor, I will say that okay, now tell me about your business. Okay, katalah business tu kecil-kecil saja kan, tak payah nak buat business proposal and everything. Okay, tak payah nak buat lah business proposal tebal-tebal tu. Just tell me lah what is your plan? What is your business plan? Everything. So you pun cerita lah, you nak buka kedai goreng pisang kat sini tak ada everything, dan you nak jual banyak ni satu hari. So 1 month you will be getting maybe around 1,000 ringgit profit. So if I think that the business is viable and would make money, then I will say, okay, I'll give you this 10,000. And in return, after 1 year, you return back my 10,000 together with 20% of your profit. So kalau business plan itu betul, every month getting 1,000 profit, 12 year, they will be getting 12,000 ringgit profit. 20%, you dapat 2,400. Yeah. So at the end of 1 year, I will get back my 10,000 ringgit. Okay. As well as 2,400 ringgit extra as the 20% of profits sharing. So this is what we call as the financing for the business. And a similar situation for a bigger business. Bigger business means if let's say now you want to do a business of 20 million, 20 million business, you nak buka kilang and everything, then you ask for the government loan. So bila you minta government loan and everything, then you will have to do a proper business planning that includes as well the financial forecast. So dalam financial forecast tu, you will tell what's your strategic plan, what's your strategic marketing, what's your strategic management, okay, how are you going to tackle the market, and you will tell us, or you will tell the bank as well that okay, this is how I'm going to derive my profits or my revenue. Then I will get this so much profit. So the banks will have their own panel of assessor that will assess your business. They will look at the market situation. They will look at the environment, okay, the industry standards, as well as the capability of the business to sustain in long term. If they are all satisfied with the plans planning ni normally is a kind of promise that you promise me to do this business and to have this profit. It's a promise actually. So when they have buy in your promises, then they will give you 20 million. Of course, bank pun dia adalah dia punya syarat-syarat yang lain lah. Probably they ask for guarantor, they will ask for collaterals. Okay, those things are normal in the banks. Okay, but what we are trying to say now that the financing for the business has got in so many forms. Ada banyak cara. It depends on how you tackle those investor, right? Okay. Okay, startup growth. Okay, bila you dah buat business dah jalan 1 tahun, and then after that you want to expand. Alright, but when you want to do expansion, you don't have money. That's where you will ask for investors, either individual investor atau the banks and everything. So that's up to you for that moment. Okay, so that is basically in terms of the financing. Okay. Habis cerita tu. So now, chapter 4 is about managing the small business. Okay, managing the small business. So nama pun dah small business kan. So senang lah. So that means small business ni, you can just register your business as an enterprise. So register saja sebagai enterprise, then uh, you will be liable for all the liability. But since the business is quite small, yeah, uh, you meniaga nasi lemak tepi jalan, you meniaga roti, you meniaga online products, okay, part-time basis. So that is considered small business, right? Yang mana you will start small, but then you just want to test the market. Normally kalau orang yang kecil-kecil ni, satu probably dia tak ada modal lah. Dia tak ada modal. Nombor dua, they just want to try the market. When you don't have enough capital, you will start small. The advantage of starting small is you can now test the market. Berapa ramai kita tengok dalam dunia bisnes sekarang ni, they started their nasi lemak business from the street stalls. Dia buka dulu tepi jalan. Then suddenly dia ada ramai customer. Hari-hari beratur. Okay, hari-hari nasi lemak dia habis. Now you start thinking that probably I will get a proper premise. Okay. Now you move into a proper premise in the shop lot. Okay. Within the same area. Kalau you keluar dari kawasan tu, then your customers mula lagi lah. Right. Within the area. So now you have your permanent premise. Okay, in the shop lot. Still getting a lot of customers coming to your shops, to your restaurant. They start thinking of expanding the lots, expanding the premise, because okay, customer ni kadang-kadang datang tak di tempat duduk. Okay, most of the time customer kena beratur panjang. Now you start thinking of expanding. Okay, then when you want to expand, let's say now you want to add in another premise, okay, another lot sebelah, unit sebelah, kebetulan kosong. Okay, then you have to think whether the crowds that you have now, does it really based on permanent situation atau it just on the temporary, on occasional basis. Okay, most ataupun some of the business owners, yeah, they misjudge the situation. They thought that situation would be permanent. Okay, dia akan ada customer yang ramai. Bila dia buka satu lagi outlet ataupun dia tambah satu lagi premise di sebelah, okay, untuk jadikan tempat duduk, untuk jadikan restoran, suddenly customer tu kurang. Okay, that was because banyak faktor lah, tapi dia misjudge bahawa that is a permanent occasion ataupun permanent situation, whereby in some cases it just on the occasional basis. Orang dah pun dah jemu nak makan, okay, and then dia pun beralih mungkin ke makanan yang lain, dan apa ni, tak menjadilah bisnes. Okay, so that's how you manage the small business. When this business start small, and then barulah kita pergi kepada yang besar-besar lah. Alright. Okay. Okay, rasanya chapter 4 ni pun tu je. Tak ada apa sangat. Okay, mana lagi? Apa lagi? Okay, now we have this business plan. Okay, now we come to the the most critical part in the business, which is the business plan. Business plan ni adalah macam saya kata tadi, adalah satu bentuk janji, a promise to us, either to ourselves or to our investors, depending who finance your business. Siapa yang keluarkan modal sebagai investor, sebagai pelabur. So kalau kita nak ada pelabur luar, okay, even if we ourselves, kita lah sendiri yang keluarkan duit tu, that means now we have to also convince ourselves, ya, tak payah convince orang lain, convince diri sendiri that this business is viable. I can do this business and this business will bring me profits. Although I know there's a risk, okay, for this business, risiko dia mungkin tinggi. Let's say for example, you nak buka kedai gerai nasi lemak dekat tepi jalan dekat rumah, tapi you tahu dekat pada masa yang sama ada 10 lagi gerai nasi lemak yang sama dekat jalan yang sama. So now you still want to open up your own nasi lemak gerai. Why? Because you think that you have the unique nasi lemak. You have your own specialty that you can attract the customer. So that means that's a promise to you. Do not. Alright. So most of the businessmen yang gagal ni, alright, they made their decision based on emotional. Okay. So they are not looking at the facts. Dia mengabaikan fakta-fakta. Contoh macam tadi, dah ada 10 gerai nasi lemak dekat situ. And because of you making the decision based on your emotion, okay, your belief, ataupun you tak buat the proper plan ataupun proper research. Okay, you cuma tahu ada 10 nasi lemak kat situ, gerai nasi lemak yang lain dekat situ. Now you still want to open up. You tak pernah buat research in terms of cooking your nasi lemak first. Alright, prepare your nasi lemak first and invite your friends. Family tu salah. Family ni kadang-kadang dia punya pendapat dia bias. Okay? Invite your friends, datang rumah, ask them to taste. Okay. If they give you a positive feedback, okay, yang mengatakan bahawa yes, your nasi lemak is very unique, different from the other 10 outlets. Okay, that will give you the facts. Itu fakta. Tapi kalau you masak, you yang rasa, okay, USD kata sedap, itu bukan fakta. Okay, itu emosi. Right? Perasaan sendiri. That cannot be counted as the facts. So you must gain all these facts first before you enter into the business, before you invest into this business. So as I said, business plan is your promise to you. Once you have convinced that okay, kawan pun kata sedap, Orang yang tak kenal pun kata sedap, jiran-jiran pun kata sedap. Okay, now let's go. Kita pun invest. Right. Bila kita dah invest, as I said, any business, you need to do marketing. Okay. So you pun buatlah proper plan. Nak buat marketing macam mana? You nak print flyers, nak print brochures, you nak masuk dalam iklan, buat digital poster, masuk dalam grup WhatsApp, kejiranan dan sebagainya. That is marketing. Whether it's a paid advertisement or free advertisement, it doesn't matter. Right? That is still your business plan, and you must also plan. Okay. As a start, okay, how many how many dishes or how many serves that you want to do per day as a start. Maybe you kata, okay, per day I just want to have maybe 100 bungkus of nasi lemak, 100 packs of nasi lemak. That's it. Just for me to try out the market first. Okay. Jangan terus buat 1,000, kalau tak laku kan rugi. Okay, buat 100 dulu. And then after 1 week, then suddenly habis cepat. Okay, sambutan makin menggalakkan. Increase to 200, increase to 300, increase to 400. Okay, step by step. And then dapatkan kedai, proper kedai. Okay, that is a business plan to you. So when you involve third party, investor luar, kawan ke, saudara ke, mak bapak ke, right? Ataupun maybe institution like banks, government agencies, yeah. You must have a formal business plan, a much more structured business plan, okay, yang ada semua financial forecast that could convince the third party to give you the money, because now you are selling promises. Benda kita tak nampak. As a startup, the difficulties for a startup is people cannot see, as compared to expansion. Expansion ni lain. Okay, if you want to do a growth in your business, you nak membesar, you want to expand the business. Okay, that means you have already got the business. Kedai nasi lemak tadi, you dah nampak, dah ada kedai. Now you want to do maybe a franchising system. You nak franchise pula. So when you want to do a franchise, you need money. Ataupun now you want to have another 3 outlets. Okay, you need money. Then now you go to bank with all this business plan and everything. But then now you have the business ready. So the bank officer or whoever the assessor, okay, katalah you punya kawan ke, they can come to your current outlet. They can taste your nasi lemak, they can taste your foods and everything. They can see that your business is doing good. So that is much more convincing and easier for you. Okay, rather than it's a startup ni dia kan jadi macam imaginasi ya. Okay, dia kan jadi imaginasi semata-mata. Benda tak ada. Okay, now you can orang kalau bahasa kita ni, bahasa kasar dia kata kita jual idea lah. Kita jual benda yang belum ada lagi. People now can just use their own imagination. Okay, looking at the current facts and everything. Itu sahaja yang dia buat. Okay, then you must be really, really convincing to have this kind of startup planning, startup business planning. Okay, so itu je lah dalam bab ni, itu je business plan, communication principle dan lebih tu pada expression. Ini semua adalah dia punya structure, the milestone, the opportunities, apa yang kena buat. Okay, there must be a kind of something that you see as an opportunity. Okay, katalah macam contoh macam ni, katalah malam ni, okay, ada final bola sepak Piala Dunia yang berlangsung di Stadium Bukit Jalil. Okay. Brazil lawan Argentina. Malaysia jadi host Piala Dunia. So malam ni final. So you know that the capacity of Bukit Jalil katalah 100,000 orang. There will be at least 100,000 crowds, okay, that will be in Stadium Bukit Jalil. Okay. So now you see that as opportunities to open up your drink stalls, jual air kat situ. Tapi tak ada modal. Tapi bila you cerita dengan orang akan jadi yakin to invest in you because they know that, oh yeah, 100,000 people will be sini. And then you nak jual air. Okay lah, orang haus, cuaca Malaysia panas dan sebagainya, kena datang Mak Saleh ni semua, tak tahan panas, dia nak air. So that is convincing. So that is also, you are seeing the opportunity. So if you can have, or if you can see bigger opportunities in the bigger scale of business, that will bring you more money, right? For example, macam kita tengok Waze, okay, Waze, WhatsApp, even Facebook, okay, when they first start up, yeah, they are using their imagination for this kind of business, okay. So daripada situ dia berkembang, okay, because they can see that there is opportunity, especially macam Waze, opportunity untuk dia untuk bantu kita cari jalan, okay, mencari jalan, mana jalan yang nak ikut paling dekat, alright, apa obstacle yang ada dekat jalan tu dan sebagainya, yang mana selama ni kita tak ada benda tu, kita susah. So they see this as an opportunity, so they develop the software, they develop the platform. So now they are one of the biggest apps in the world. Okay. So lepas tu ada business model, okay, and then stages of development macam saya kata tadi. Okay, essential initial research. You kena buat sikit lah research macam saya kata tadi. Kena tanya orang, kena tengok. Kalau jual makanan tu, kenalah bagi kawan-kawan kita rasa dulu. Alright, betul ke kita beli ni sedap? Something macam tu lah. Alright. Okay, business plan draft. Okay, and then making business plan realistic. Appeal to stakeholders and desirable to the entrepreneur. Okay. So this one is more baca. And then communication technique, business plan. Okay, macam mana you nak cerita. So itu semua adalah. Alright. Okay. Ada soalan so far? I think kita akan masuk ke last tadi. Okay.
So.
Masih bagi sini. Okay, kalau tengok kat sini, customer development process, competition and customer development process. Okay, how you tackle competition? Kita kata dah tadi, okay, sekarang ni you dah ada 10 gerai nasi lemak yang sedia ada, tambah you masuk satu dah jadi 11. So how are you going to cope with all this competition? So normally you're very convinced that your nasi lemak is quite unique from the others, okay, so that you can have your own niche. Ataupun you punya nasi lemak ni you jual yang basic saja, tak ada lauk, tak ada apa, tapi RM1, kecil RM1, and it's kata macam bite lah, okay, macam food bites. Orang datang tu dia just nak makan dengan cepat, mungkin dia tak ada masa dan sebagainya, so they just want to have a quick bite on your nasi lemak. So the strategy is, bila you buat kecil RM1, orang akan beli mungkin 2, 3, sebab satu tak cukup, ataupun satu tu mungkin untuk budak-budak kecil. So that's how you strategize in terms of competition. So when you have a bigger business, then you start thinking of so many ways of doing marketing, especially to compete with your competitors. Salah satu yang paling common berlaku dalam dunia perniagaan is what we call as the price war. Price war ni, kita dah start turunkan harga banding kompetitor. Kalau kita tengok dalam higher education pun, okay, you are taking now MBA kan. Alright. So most of the universities in Malaysia, they have MBA as well. Okay. Jadi and if you can see the MBA's fees for all these universities, they are different. Okay. Semua setiap satu ada dia punya harga masing-masing. Banyak dia punya banyak ketidaksamaan, okay, dalam harga MBA ini. Maybe KLMU kalau tak silap bayar berapa? RM12,000, RM9,000 ke RM12,000, macam itulah. And then we have UiTM, Public University, dia jual RM16,000. probably 24,000. And then we have Taylor's jual sampai 28,000. Okay. So how they come up with all these prices? Because they thought that they have the quality. Although MBA is MBA, because in Malaysia, MBA program ni being controlled by MQA in terms of the program standards. Kalau you belajar dekat KLMU ke, you belajar dekat UM ke, UKM ke, mana-mana ke, 80% of the subjects are almost the same. Okay, 80% of the subject, okay, normally they are the same. Just that maybe some chapters could be included, some chapters tak. Okay, and the remaining 20 or 30% tu, selalunya it depends on the university's focus. Kalau you, let's say kalau university tu, the focus is on technical, so they will have technology kind of management subject. Berbagai teknologi management, okay, something macam tu. Kalau dia bersifat, universiti tu bersifat entrepreneurship, macam kata UUM, for example, then dia punya MBA akan menjurus ke arah usahawanan. Kalau MBA, kalau katalah macam technical university ataupun di hospitality university, dia fokus pada hospitality, so dia punya MBA tu menjurus kepada hospitality, okay, because in business we have so many industries, so that's why walaupun universiti ni ada banyak MBA, okay, tapi dia punya fokus tu akan ke arah universiti. So that's how they determine their prices in terms of the quality, in terms of the university ranking, okay, and in terms of the establishment of their own MBA, ataupun maybe dia ada kerjasama dengan pihak ketiga, okay, dengan industri ataupun dengan universiti luar dan sebagainya. That would also increase the price for that particular MBA. So that's how we determine the price, and also besides price war, we also look at our quality, the brand name. Kita kata the brand name lah. Kalau kasut tu sama, tapi bila ada chop Adidas, dia jadi lagi mahal. Kalau ada chop Nike, dia jadi mahal. Kalau dia Bata, dia murah sikit. Okay, but actually benda tu sama. It comes out from the same factory. Okay, kita ada OEM, okay, factory. Okay. Then dalam factory akan semua jenis kasut. Cuma bila sampai dekat saya, dia jadi brand Adidas. Dia sampai dekat Shariful Israf, dia jadi Nike. Dia sampai dekat Diren, dia jadi Puma, for example. So all these brands would have their own goodwill that would also push up the price of that particular brand. So itu yang menjadikan harga dia semua berbeza-beza. Okay, alright. Then development new firms, I think. Okay, I think I'll stop here. Okay. You all semua dah dapat assignment kan?
Dah, sir.
Dah. So is there any problem with the assignment?
No, so far okay.
Okay. Alright. Very good. Is there any questions? Sujitra? Okay. Kalau tak ada, we stop our class for entrepreneurship. Focus on your assignment. Okay. Final assessment will be released to you in July rasanya. Yeah. Okay. And then finish up. Okay. Finish up your what do you call that? Project paper. And you have anything, alright? Then kalau dia ada apa-apa persoalan, dan jangan lupa WhatsApp dengan saya ataupun call saya. Okay? Boleh?
Okay, sir.
Alright,
Boleh,
so
sir.
thank you so much and wish to you happy Sunday today. Assalamualaikum. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You too, sir. Bye.